Hello, hello. We are waiting for some of our audience to still join, but I see some people are coming in already.
Nice. Yeah, they are participants. Okay.
Participants are joining. Since we pressed the button 1 minute late, I think I don't want to take up too much of the discussion time, and I will start right away with the welcoming speech, small speech. So hello and welcome everybody to another edition of our format, GamesNet Berlin Europe introduces, where we shine a digital spotlight on interesting games companies from Berlin. Today with Twisted Ramble Games, an all-female studio that tackles stigmatized topics within their games. Their first game is called Duru and revolves around mole rats and depression. Our moderator, as is good tradition, is André Bernhardt, and he will burrow through the tunnels of this conversation with our guests, Kerstin, Schütt, and Verena, Hetsch, and get to the bottom of Twisted Ramble's founding story, their success and accolades, and dig down to the core of heavy topics in games. That's all the wordplays I could find around this topic. But before we start, I have a quick announcement and want to thank our partners. GamesNet Berlin Europe is an initiative of MediaNet Berlin Brandenburg, whose network reaches beyond the games industry, connecting Berlin's and Brandenburg's media, creative, and digital industries to create meaningful connections and facilitate interdisciplinary synergies. The project is financed by the European Union through its European Regional Development Fund and the State of Berlin, namely the Senate Department of Economics, Energy, and Public Enterprises through its program for internationalization. On December 13th at 5 p.m. Berlin time, we will return to this format with Tucana Games, creators of Dorfromantik, for our final event of the year. So mark your calendars for that. Please make also sure to follow our social media channels and find event information, podcast episodes, and the newsletter on our website at gamesnetberlin.eu. And now, without further delay, please welcome our wonderful guests, Kerstin and Verena, and our moderator, André.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Hello and welcome from my side as well. And don't forget, the security exits are in the front, on the side, and in the back of this plane for our little ride. Yeah, hopefully, hello everyone. Thanks that you all showed up, and especially thanks to Verena as well as Kerstin. I'm sorry we run a minute or two late because I had some issues with a different PC. I usually do all the moderation stuff, but you know how it is, even after 2 years of pandemic, sometimes you're still not able to manage everything running and get it up on time. But anyway, we worked out, and I'm happy that every one of you is here and that Kerstin and Verena is here. So who am I again? André Bernhardt, IndieAdvisor and Company. That's my business, and I'm happy to be the moderator for today. And hopefully I can dig down into the mole rat of Twisted Ramble and get to know all the details about the game. But as it's not about me, but about the people being the developers of the game and the studios itself, please, Verena, Kerstin, introduce yourself. Who are you and what are you doing within Twisted Ramble?
Hi, I'm Verena, and I am mainly the game artist in Twisted Ramble games. So I make all the animations, the character design, basically everything in the game that's visualized is my doing. And sometimes a little bit game design as well, but just a little bit.
Great. And Kerstin?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kerstin. I do mostly like programming, story, concept, game design, in all the Twisted Ramble stuff, mainly Duru. And yeah, also like the administrative part. And if you think, oh, there's one part of the game development process missing, which is level design. Once we were 3, now we are 2, with Sandra, who was our third person developer, who focused on level design and marketing, and helps out from time to time when her time allows.
But she can't join us for today, or?
No.
Okay.
She has a full-time job now.
Yeah.
It's not with us.
So but I'm happy that the two of you are with us. And for everyone within the audience who is not familiar with Duru right now, if you had to do the elevator pitch before we take a look at the trailer, how would you describe the game in a nutshell?
Duru is a colorful game about a dark topic, which is depression. It's a 2D puzzle adventure at heart, where you have to find your way through the tunnel surrounding the Morat colony, while an evil AI is trying to hold you back at every step of the way.
I have the feeling that you might have pitched that one before 1 or 2 times. So colorful experience about a dark topic. Florian, may I ask you to run the trailer for a minute, please? Now, some magic should be happening sooner or later.
Otherwise, we can try.
Otherwise, we can reenact. Because what I know about the game, while Florian is looking for the trailer to run, okay, there it goes.
I thought I did something.
And thanks a lot, Florian. And before we have this call to action at the end of our little talk over here, make sure to wishlist the game right now at least twice and get it as often as possible to send it over to your friends and family. Actually, we could have reenacted the trailer to a certain degree, as there are no, seriously, there are no, as far as I remember the game, there are no words in it. Everything you invented this own kind of sign language to make sure that, I don't know, what was the reason behind it? Is there a special purpose except of saving localization costs, or?
Well, as if you say the word depression alone, it already has a weight. And if you talk about it, or if you have like scenes where it's about depression, words have a weight and it drags you down. And we wanted to avoid this. So for a long time, the word depression wasn't even showing up like in the tag, only in the tagline.
Yeah.
Sometimes before that, even not there. So we want to keep it lightweight, lighthearted, and also have it that it's universally understandable, and with the pictures that were used to express thoughts, especially of the main character Tuli, it's much more clear. There are some pictures where she is like alone, surrounded by darkness, and that's still heavy, but it's different than the word, and it's also it conveys more a feeling than a meaning. If that makes sense.
And what we also realized is that a lot of people interpret them differently, but in the end, the gist comes through what we wanted to give. So that's really enjoyable when we see people play the game and then voice out loud what they think the conversations are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depression is also very individual illness, and with people being able to interpret it in their own way, as Verena said, it also highlights this aspect of the illness.
As Florian just mentioned this to our fantastic audience, yeah, make sure, I mean, as there, it could be more than they are right now. I think I can handle. If you have some questions, just drop it immediately. Maybe we can interact it into our conversation somehow. Otherwise, as we will come to it back at the end of the discussion. But make sure to keep this interactive. So if you see something where you want me to dig deeper into the mole tunnel or whatever, then let me know about this, please. So a game about a colorful game about depression. Usually I wanted to start with beforehand I wanted to start with the question like, okay, how did you come up with the idea of for one hand choose like one of the, I wouldn't say not most beautiful animal in the whole beautiful nature of planet Earth, like the mole rat, or in German the Nacktmull. And second of that, also, why did you came up with the idea of choosing like this kind of topic of depression, where I mean, from a first-hand view, I would say like, okay, isn't that like a strange combination, either and somehow not beautiful animals connected with this very difficult, or at least challenging emotional content then of depression?
Well, there are naked mole rats and there are mole rats with fur. And
yeah.
We decided to take the cuter part, which is the ones with fur.
Absolutely.
And they basically have a social structure as humans do. And we wanted to take this topic, because it is so dark and heavy, we wanted to take it away from the human side and just put it into the animal kingdom to get some distance from it.
And how's the basic approach how was the basic approach in the beginning? Like, I mean, you mentioned that you didn't want to have the depression as the main topic, that it wasn't mentioned in the text or anywhere from the beginning on. So was it more like you wanted to recreate the feeling of a depression within a game and a way to get out of that? Somehow sneakily inform people about how this is, or how to get over this, or to how to get this impression, or how to come over a depression, how it is to feel like being depressed, or how can we imagine that?
There are games that try to convey how it is to be depressed or have depression. And Duru is not that. Duru explains, or tries to explain, like basically the main symptoms of the illness, like having these dark thoughts. When you read reports from people who suffer from depression, they most of the time, not all of them, most of the time they externalize the illness as a kraken, or the dark dog that follows you around everywhere. So we have this with a creature. So there is basically this, as you say, the sneaky educational part of Duru. And also to try and explain how misunderstandings happen when you have a person in your social surroundings, as a friend, family member, who has depression, because there are so many misunderstandings that can happen if you, if you're not careful, or you just don't know. So the main part is to show this is how this illness possibly shows up in like symptoms wise, and these are the things to look out for, like when you try to help a person, because there are some things that people think is helpful but it's really not. And we try to explain this in this friendly, colorful environment.
But I didn't really get this, but you try to do so as well within this. I mean, you can also encounter this within the game then.
The misunderstandings, yes. So
Yeah.
basically what we do is we have a mole-rat colony where all the mole-rats live, and all of them react different to the main character and its changes through the course of the illness, basically. So nobody sees this dark monster that is following the main character.
Okay.
So they have not the knowledge of this thing dragging the main character down. So when Tudi, our main character, basically shuts off or, acts weird, they don't know why, and they interpret it in different ways. So when she's distancing herself, then they think, okay, some of them think, okay, she might not be interested, or she is unreliable because she always cancels, dates and activities. While others are, are concerned, but also don't know what to do. So we have these different aspects, and we highlight what is like harmful behavior and what is helpful behavior.
Was there a kind of target audience that you had in the beginning when you were designing the game, or was it just like the other way around, where you thought like, okay, this is how we imagine how this game should look like, and we design it this way and think like the audience will follow depending our choices? Or did you have some concrete ideas about who is the target audience in the end?
Target audience is a tough one with our game, because basically we want to help people who are depressed by informing their social environment about the illness. And if you think about it, that's probably every person on the planet, because depression is such a, common mental illness that everybody knows at least one person who has it, whether they're aware of it or not. So target audience is a tough one. So basically we had the idea what we want to do with the game, what it should be like, what we want to basically give to the world, give to our audience, and then everything has to follow this vision. Okay.
But it's not like that you would imagine, okay, we are making a game for depressed people to brighten them up somehow. It's the other way around, where you think like, okay, there are lots of misunderstandings about the illness, and it could be helpful to teach people without the pointing finger somehow, and this is how it's done correctly. Okay, with getting this with getting closer to the vision and to the impression of the game itself. Before we dig deeper into that, maybe tell us a bit more about your background. What made you up becoming a game development team, game development studio, and starting out on actually your first title it is, right? Right?
Right. Well, basically we met at university. We studied game design at the University of Applied Science in Berlin, and there we met. And basically after the mandatory internship, we decided we wanted to decide what kind of games we want to make, and not having to make games that we don't stand behind.
Yeah.
And Kerstin just called me and asked, hey, do you want to make a game together? And I was like, yeah, sure. We had a lot of practices in the studies. So we had a lot of projects together. So we knew how we worked. And that's why we made a game. Or we making a game together.
Yeah. So, so you had the time as a team together somehow to build up the pipeline and grew grew some of the experience already in your study times then.
Yes.
Okay. And who then came them up with the idea of Duru itself, with the topic of depression as well as with the mole rats?
Yes, that was me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but basically I knew I wanted to make a game about this topic because it's very close to my heart as a person who has depression herself. And the game idea was, it was always this game that should not be like dark and black and white, because if you look at games about depression, they lack color. And that's okay, you know, but I wanted to make a game that's not that already makes the topic more unbearable than it already is. So it's easier to access it. And the Moritz basically came out of the knowledge that I wanted to make games with Verena because I love working with her during our studies. And I know she can make insanely cute animal characters. And then I was looking, okay, which animals are kind of close social structure wise to humans, and Moritz kind of are. There's, you know, a queen, like we have, you know, bosses or leaders, and then everybody has a job.
Yeah,
they have to perform it, and if they can't perform it, it's very tightly tied to self-worth, just you know, like in our society.
Who would have known that Moritz are close to our very specific human abilities? But when you entered the, I mean, okay, sure, you started studying, but your vision in founding the studio, was this more like, okay, we have the classical business approach as we want to produce a game that makes us a quick buck and stuff like that? Or is it more like you think, okay, it's more, or you're more on the artistic side of the medium where you say like, okay, the video games itself has the possibility to teach something to people in a very different way? I mean, where on this kind of extreme spectrum, to be true, where would you locate yourself?
Well, sorry, we have to laugh.
Yeah.
That's a question because even if we were, this is not a way to get a quick buck.
Yeah.
This is not a game that will, you know, make millions in a short time, because you have to do a lot of research and you have to be careful about it. It's a sensitive subject. Also, we have like a high standard when it comes to art. And also there's AI involved. And if you have an AI character in your game, nothing is quick.
Yeah, but mainly our purpose with Twisted Ramble games is to make games that talk about difficult topics and stigmatized topics. So we hear a lot that we don't want to make a lot of money, apparently. So we are more on the altruistic side of the games industry.
But that would have been the next question, and somehow that I mean, do you have the intentions to self-publish the title, or do you have a lot of publisher talks? Because that would be interesting to see, like, okay, how do these conversations with publishers then look like when you come up with one of the main topics is depression within this game?
Well, there is if anybody listening is a game dev and you're looking into publishers, the number one way to turn off any publisher is, well, it's a 2D platformer.
Yeah.
Instantly. I can guarantee it. It's a tough sale, and I get why, because when you look at Steam and other platforms, there are a lot of 2D puzzle platformers out there.
Right.
Doesn't mean all of them are good or all of them have what ours have, but if you have this, even if it's not the first sentence, because at some point we noticed, of course, but then it's it's a tough sale, and so they are not inclined to help you publish, to give you money. Maybe it also is a factor that it's our first game, so maybe experience is also something, I'm not sure. But yeah, I thought with like the topic combination with the AI character that works against you, which I haven't seen in other platformers I've been looking at, I thought it was unique enough that publishers might be interested, but
I mean, there are, we did talk to some publishers who had a lot of games in their repertoire.
Yeah.
And we just had the feeling that we don't fit in there, or that they want too much money for not doing enough. So you always have to look at the publisher, how they fit for your needs as well, because there are vast differences between the publishers.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
so
some that just say we do the marketing, but we don't want to invest any money. So that's something we didn't want because we can hire a marketing company.
Before we come then back to the point of why did you do a 2D puzzle platformer then and didn't choose a different genre or a genre for your game? You mentioned the AI companion, and just want to make sure that the audience is getting this right. So the AI, actually, it's not a companion, but an antagonist. If I just to make this sure as well.
It's
but
both.
It's both. Okay. But actually, it really has some AI component to the behavior on it.
It's totally AI. So
yeah, maybe you can elaborate on this. How does this work out then?
Yeah, sorry, it's an autonomous character that reacts to what players do. So in the trailer, for example, you saw like the classic example that's very good to explain is the button with a stone.
Yeah.
It's easy, right? Puts a button on the stone and then no, he puts a stone on the button. Sorry. it's so easy. He puts a stone on the button and then this little creature comes and just knocks it off. And from this point, this is like one of the first encounters with what this character actually is. It's not just there, it's a hindrance. And from this point, you realize, oh, this is getting harder because of this creature. Yeah. Just like stuff like mundane, easy, simple stuff, like putting a stone on a button in everyday life gets suddenly harder just because this creature, this illness pops up.
Yeah.
So you have to, as player, find ways around this. So this is like the puzzle component. It's not an antagonist that just is there or kills you. It holds you back as well. But it's also an element of the puzzles in the game.
And basically the character itself can paint these stones and things that help her, but she only has a certain amount of energy for it. And sometimes the puzzles you can work around by making a heavier stone, for example, but that takes more energy, which also is like a symbolism for topics that should be easy, drain more energy just when you have something that holds you back.
And was that in it from the beginning that you thought like, okay, the best idea to mirror this kind of experience is do this with some kind of AI component that works continuously against all your efforts all the time?
Yeah, at the time I was very hyped because I love AI. I also, before studying game design, I studied computer science, and I loved working with AI and machine learning and all that good stuff. So I was thinking, oh, okay, I can bring this into,
yeah.
the game experience. And also from the beginning, I thought, okay, depression is mostly described as something that is externalized. And also I wanted to have a clear cut between this is a character and this is the illness. So you can also see when the character has certain thoughts that they are influenced by this creature, there's like a connection. So these thoughts of self-doubt, they are not the character's own thoughts. Yeah. And that's something that is hard to understand when you talking to somebody who tries to explain what depression feels like. And it's also a weird concept for people who have depression, because some thoughts, it's like thoughts, it's, your own thing, but they come from this illness. And trying to explain this is very hard. And I feel like having like this external force was the best way to depict it. And also I think at the time I thought, oh, it's a cool concept, we can do that. And then I realized AI is hard.
What do you what's the history time-wise when you're mentoring at this time? I mean, how long are you working on this game now? And yeah, when can we expect it to be released then? Because at the moment it's still wishlist stage, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a demo that's a little bit outdated already. We tried to put the demo on there that we had at Gamescom at some point.
Yeah.
But we have been working on off, part-time, full-time. It was always a mix for 4 years, 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I think in the late 2017, when we finished with our studies, when we got our degrees, we began developing the idea and the concept paper. And then we were able to start to work fully on it 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a startup stipendium.
Yeah, we got a startups scholarship from our University of Applied Science, with which we could work full-time on the project on 1 year. And in that time, we could develop a very good demo with which we then went on conferences and so on. Yeah.
And what was the earliest estimate of yours? Like, okay, this is how long it will take until we release the game. What was the plan in the beginning?
We had after the scholarship, we had the funding from the media board.
Yes, right.
And we got it, and then the pandemic hit.
There was just like to sum up, you received 70,000 euros from Medienboard Berlin. And that was at the time, it's so crazy. It feels like 2 years are missing with the pandemic, but that was then 2019 or when you received the grant.
No, it was 2020.
It was 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, Twisted Ramble also was founded on the 4th of April. 4th of April? 15th of April.
16th of April.
Yeah, okay. 4th of April is the birthday of my dog, so.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, random fact there. Yeah, 15th, 16th of April. And then basically a week after everything was shut down. I mean, there it was already like hard to go to the lawyer and stuff like this.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, it wasn't good timing. And we thought, okay, we got like the funding, and end of the year it's done, and we can release in the February of 2021.
Yes.
That didn't happen, and then we had the problem of funding.
Yeah.
And then we started going in the spiral of, okay, we apply for funding, we apply at a publisher, we contact and we wait, and then we apply for more funding, and then we wait. And even though you can recycle a lot, you always have to, work on it. And while you do this as a small team, nothing gets done on the game. And at one point we just said, no, we have to cut here, because this is getting us nowhere. It's just, we are digging our hole deeper funding-wise. So we got part-time jobs and said, okay, we just have to go through this, and hopefully we get it 1 year later. And also we did the Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
But we did that in the same year.
It wasn't the same year. Yeah.
It was,
sorry, my
everything was 2020.
Yeah, like between, just like André said, between 2020 and now, the time is just 1 point. It's not a line of events. It's just all at once.
So okay, to trying to get this straight into a timeline. Then okay, you start with the project after your studies, but you didn't immediately fund the company. Yes. Or found the company. Okay, exactly. And then you applied like for Medienboard beginning of 2022, and then you successfully got the funding, and then you managed to get everything somehow done before the pandemic and the kind of lockdowns that we had kicked in then. And later on, you discovered, okay, this is like you need additional money to work on the title. And then you did the Kickstarter, the successful Kickstarter, which is important to say, which gave you like another 15,000 euros. And then you worked part-time on the title. Yes. Summarize this correctly. Okay. And this is like, okay, now you're in this difficult task of doing work for hire on the side, as well as working on the project. And the release date that you have in mind right now is?
Is spring next year.
Okay.
This time for sure.
This time
we have to at some point. We have to, yeah. But it's like the main thing we are doing right now is basically bug hunting and level design fixes. So it's getting there, but I'm not sure. It's like this rule of thumb: the last 10% cost you 50% of your time.
80.
Oh yeah, okay.
But at a certain point, I can imagine also like keeping up with the updates. I mean, you are using which engine? Unity to.
Yes.
The longer the game drags on, I guess it's like additional bugs come in with all the middleware being patched and updated and all the stuff.
And suddenly things don't work like they used to. Yes.
Yeah, we did this 2 times. We did the Unity upgrade dance 2 times, and now we're just okay. It's like long-term solution 2019 version. Done. We're done. We're not upgrading anymore because every time it breaks everything, and I can't deal with it. It's
okay.
I could go on a full hour rant now about Unity upgrading your project, but I won't because I just get angry.
But that sounds like the topic that you can give at the next DevCon or whatever developer conference, like how to build a company within the pandemic and do the Unity update dance like twice within it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a guy at Gamescom because we were at the Indie Arena, and I think there was a sponsorship from Unity because at one point we had all like Unity stickers at our booth. And there was actually a guy coming, and he was super friendly, and he was asking, what's your feedback on this? And I was like floating up my sleeves, but he was too nice, so I couldn't go. But he was like, no, it works now. If you have like 2020 version and above, you can upgrade and it won't break. And I'm like, yeah, no, I won't do that. But yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Coming back to the 2D platformer then.
Yes.
Was it like in the beginning that the impression was like, no, the market is screaming for another 2D platformer, or is it your personal favorite genre? Because usually when I talk to the students, it's also a thing that I say is like puzzle platformer is a different genre, as there are so many titles out there already that are also aging well, that it's challenging.
Yeah. So I mainly know I wanted to make a 2D game because Verena is an amazing 2D artist. So I was also trying to tailor, or we were trying to tailor the project to our strengths. Mm-hmm. And the 2D puzzle platformer, since we wanted to reach a big audience, it's a genre that it's easy to get into. So we had the opportunity for exhibiting our games, and there were people who never played a game before who played a game, and they were amazed that they could do it. And that was the most beautiful thing, that your game is the first game. And also they were like, oh, I'm interested because of the topic. I want to do this and try this. And this is also kind of our mission to show people also what games can be and how they can talk about these various topics. And also, since it's such an easy genre to get into, we also think, okay, we have like these friendly characters. We have a topic that needs to be talked about as early as possible, but also in an appropriate way. So we're also saying, okay, kids could play our game easily. So this was where the thought process is behind it.
Yeah. Okay, but totally got it. I mean, accessibility is also like very high than for 2D platformers. So this that's an understandable approach. There was a question within the audience. Actually, there are 2 so far. First one is a quick one, I guess. Do mole rats also suffer from depression? Has the mole rat science discovered that already?
Well, I think the queen doesn't allow it.
Okay, simple.
No, it's actually it's more horrible than that.
Yeah.
So I haven't fact checked it yet, but somebody told me that Morets actually have, like, the queen basically whips them into shape, and some die from working. So they don't have time to be depressed. They have to, also work.
Okay, later on you need to recommend some Moret storybooks for us and everyone listening, so we can dive deeper into that. Okay, second one was, I mean, after the experience that you had with developing, that you had in developing the game and also in pitching the game, would you say, like, okay, it's a feasible approach for you to try again with the publisher next time, or to come up with different funding methods to get this game to get your next project up the ground? I don't know, running a Kickstarter again, or?
Well, the thing is, we have to wait what the state fund situation will get like, because this was our, plan for the next project, which is already like in the idea stage, and yeah, so we were thinking like doing a combination of the media fund and the state fund.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It's out of the window now. We have to see. We can try to approach publishers, but now I'm, depending on this, how this goes, I'm kind of shying away from it, because it wasn't ideal, but it worked so far. Yeah. Also, since we have now contract work, maybe we can, balance it a bit more. We have to see.
Basically, we do know that if you have one game out, opens doors to other finances. So that's why we also want to finally get this game out the door, because we are working on it for so long, and it is our first project. But having a game out and published gives us more opportunities. So
Creative Europe is one of them.
Creative Europe, for example.
Right. Yeah. And also, I mean, there is the silver lining on the horizon somehow with the Deutsche Computerspieleförderung, that there might be additional money being poured into the pool, and hopefully you got the chance to access it then, because that totally makes sense to combine the Computerspieleförderung with the Medium Board. Because these are the topics or kind of games that could need this government support the most somehow. Time is running fast, sadly. I didn't talk about, you're one of the rare breed of an all-female team. Was that planned on purpose? Or do you just find yourself together? It was just the right mix of people that came together here with the same gender in the end.
I mean, we didn't plan on it. It just happened. We know that our work ethic fits, our process fits, and what was that?
I have no clue, but hopefully it's over.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, the question isn't asked when you have like so many all male teams, and I hope they are not like, no, we only want to be a guys team. So it would be weird if we said, oh no, we want to be an all female team. Yeah,
but that's I'm asking that also with the question, like, I mean, the industry is talking about diversity and this stuff all the time. Do you have the feeling like, I mean, it's a very good point that you're that pointing out that me already asked the question makes this somehow unusually in the industry. But do you have did you get any comments on that, like as well, where you had the feedback of, okay, the industry is not yet ready for this kind of, or for all female teams, or it takes some more time until people are not only like, oh wow, this is really a surprising thing?
Verena, I think your mic just gave out.
Yeah,
we can't hear you yet.
Okay.
Okay, I will keep going, and then we see if I can read Verena's mind. You're still quiet. It's the wrong mic. It's the one from your webcam. I think we had this once.
Yeah, I know, but
I can hear you, but quiet.
Yeah. But it sounds like at least we can understand you.
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
I guess that was the noise that you heard.
Yeah.
Before that my microphone gave out. The most thing that we heard in the beginning was, wow, you're an all women's team, then people must throw money at you.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's our unique selling point. And we were like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. So Kerstin.
Yeah. A way nicer thing that was said was, I'm not sure by whom. You do like, they were like, you're a female development team, and you do a game that has, it's about depression, that has more meaning behind it. And then they were listing other female developers that also do games that have, a meaning or another purpose and purely entertainment. And they were like, is this kind of game, like, are female teams more likely to develop this kind of game?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have an answer for that because I don't think there's a statistics on it yet. But just from a gut feel, there's some truth to it, and I haven't figured out why. I'm not sure what it is that female-led teams do, or why it is that they make like more games that have more purpose and entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe this could be, if we had more time, it would be interesting to also dig deeper. I can't get over, thanks Florian, to the dig deeper now metaphor somehow all the time with the mole rats. Yeah, but really spend some more time on the of the trend of wholesome games, let's say like that, which is not the typical loot and shoot or whatever games that this industry was running on for a long time. I didn't want to spend this time too much on the pandemic anymore and your experience with that. So only one question to at least have this covered. I mean, how was it for you with the pandemic and trying to do marketing for the title? For indie developers, I can imagine it's hard. You don't have the budget to spend like doing a lot of advertising. So usually teams go to a lot of conferences, showcase their title. With you suddenly losing all the opportunities to be on conferences, to be on trade shows, to show your game. What was your alternative take then on that? How did you try to overcome this marketing-wise?
Well, we were lucky that we had like the September, like the winter before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
We still had EGX. Yeah, it was the EGX.
Yeah, right.
And there we had the first real visual stand, but I think we also went to oh god, not Gamescom, but the DevCon.
Yeah.
And we started with really old school newsletter lists that we laid out, and people started to write their names and their contacts on it. And we went to EGX, and there we kept on doing that. And I think the most social media we did was during the Kickstarter campaign, when we had 1.5, 2 months of daily social media and bugging people to support us. And that was the time when we got our best fan base.
Yeah, so basically we planned the Kickstarter campaign in the winter before the pandemic hit. We had also like a plan to film on site with a friend of mine who is like a filmmaker. And then we had to do everything remote. Also, we were planning like time-wise that we could have like DevCon, Gamescom, and one other in the time frame of the Kickstarter campaign, and then it didn't happen. So it was tough. So we had to scream into social media and annoy our friends, who were very helpful, and all the people who shared it. It was an amazing but also a very exhausting experience.
And how does it work? I guess you run a Discord, or how do you organize your community?
Well, there are some things that always get a little bit neglected when you're a small team. I wish I could do more there, but there are some people that are very active, and also we do streams. It was very regularly in the core time of the pandemic, because it was also my coping mechanism, and I noticed that people were coming onto the coding streams that I did, who also treated it like a co-working situation, right? You can chat on the side. And you are not that lonely by yourself at home. So there we did a lot of streaming. Some people came into the community, and now we have streams for updating. So basically every 2 weeks we do an update stream, say, hey, this is happening, so people can be, have some peace of mind that we are still working on it, that we don't abandon this. Also, we have some gaming nights at our Discord that are very lovely. And we have another stream where we play games, and since we are game devs, it's research, so we do that. So the community, our community mainly happens on the Discord, and some small chats, and also on the Twitch streams.
But you have to explain that. Usually when I think about, I can't code myself, but when I think about people coding stuff, then they are in the tunnel, like focused. I need to if this, then that. And how does this look like? People take a look at you while you write the code and see the code as well, and you can also, the chat runs next to you to the Unity window, or how do we have to imagine that?
Yeah, it gets it's some getting used to when you start out, because you have to multitask, and also you have to pick your battles. So basically what I did, I was selecting tasks that are easy to handle on stream. So I would rarely do AI stuff on stream, because then I have to be laser focused. But it's also nice when you have other devs that are joining the stream, because they can say, oh, did you try this and that? And then I'm like, sure, I can try this. Or somebody was asking, well, how would you solve this problem? And I can I would do this, and then I code something on the fly. I'm not doing coding streams anymore because time is very limited currently, but I would love to get into it, because also I am, even though I hate to point out we're a female dev team and also a female programmer, I like my computer science studies were 300 guys and 5 girls basically.
Okay. So wow.
There is this will to represent at our side as well, even though we hope one day it wouldn't be necessary. So showing that, as stupid as it sounds, women can code. And it's nothing to be afraid of. That's also part of.
Well, there's this documentary about the coding women of the NASA in the beginning, as coding was mostly a women thing. Do you know by any chance the name of this documentary? Because I was recently talking about it and couldn't remember.
I know it, but
if someone within the audience knows the name of this documentary, please write it here in the chat or as a question. Because it's usually. But I don't want to. I understand that this is hard. I can imagine, or I can only imagine that it's hard to be one of the 5 women studying this then at the university at this time. Then time is now running super fast, and I have some last questions that I definitely want to bring on before we have to end this little session already. First of all. How important is Berlin for you as a city where you develop these games? Would it be it doesn't matter, we could sit in Bielefeld or in Stuttgart or wherever, the community, the local community is not that important to us? Or is it more we're happy that the events are somehow coming back to the city after the pandemic?
Should I answer, Verena? Would you?
No.
Okay.
Berlin is very important for socialization. Socialization and networking. If you're the person for it. I was just smiling because I am very happy sitting in my home doing my stuff on the computer, because I'm not that of an open people person. But every time when we do go to these events, it is very insightful, and we always get good contacts. And also just talking about the struggle and then getting tips from the other people in the industry just really helps a lot. So yeah, definitely. Definitely Berlin is a big
I mean,
cooking pot for
you were also part of the what was it again called, the Rabbit, the incubating program here in, or not here in Berlin, but on the outskirts of Berlin, I would say, to phrase it carefully. Was that a good experience for you, like being outside with okay?
It was amazing. It was like game developer camp.
Yeah.
And also the location was great. The food was superb. I loved the food so much. And right after that, it was so healthy that we, after the months there, we had to go and eat fast food, like nearly everybody, to just calm our bodies down. But also in Berlin, like there are. Yeah, the events are coming slowly back. I'm very mad at myself that we are way too late discovered the talk and play, because this was super fun to go to, but also to show your game at, even if it's in an early stage, because the people there are super nice. There you meet all the indie developers of Berlin, I feel like. And then, with the pandemic, it has to be put on hold. I hope it will come back, because it was my favorite one by far.
You mentioned already some future plans, like with fingers crossed with the public funding coming back. Can you give us a glimpse or a little idea about the next game that you will be working on then afterwards, or the idea of it?
I haven't got a fully fledged elevator pitch for this one yet.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a murder mystery dating sim about toxic relationships.
Oh, wow. You pick the challenging fight.
Yeah. We can't do it any other way. But also it will be like, it will have a bit of humor as well. It will be, of course, we have to be colorful this topic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will see, because this is one I'm actually a writer as well. I like writing, and with a game that has only picture dialogue, it's hard to do. So I have this pent up driving writer's drive that needs to get out. So I'm super psyched.
Okay, I guess Florian doesn't let us overextend that much. So close to my last question, and maybe a short answer on that. As we have an AI expert here as well as an artist, shouldn't artists be afraid of the development that is happening in AI right now with stable diffusion and all this stuff? Would you people still recommend to work on art itself, or will you say no, in the future Kerstin will do this with the art stuff as well by just letting stable diffusion do some magic?
I try to keep out of that information bubble, because sometimes stuff can go high very quickly and then just fall back. But the way I see it, I don't really think that it will be such a big problem, because for artists, they realize when someone tells them what they want, the artist draws it, and then the person itself doesn't have an idea what he wanted in the first place. So that will be the biggest problem for people using AI, that they can't really express what they want. Yeah. So that's my take. So I would say personal art and individual art is always better than computer generated.
Okay.
Because computer generated is also just picked picking art style and copying stuff.
And yeah, remix somehow.
Remix from people who didn't even know that it's happening. So yeah, I would say keep doing art, make the world brighter.
Thanks a lot. Therefore, there's a very last question in our chat right here, which is: will there be cute merch upon game release? So where to buy those stuffed mole rats then?
Well, we have some small merch. We have stickers already and bags with basically this motive, like the hug.
Yeah.
And right now you only can get it with our Patreon, not to make too much advertisement for that here. But
yeah, no, now it's the time to do advertisement.
Okay,
so where
you
to
have
find
to
the
go to our
Patreon?
Patreon.
Right.
Sign up there as a Rambler, and then you get some cute stickers. And you can also pick one of our few merch that we have. We will see if we also do some additional stuff then as well when the game comes out.
So we are looking very much forward to the release of the game itself. Also, make sure how to find the Patreon. I guess Twisted Ramble Patreon on Google or whatever your favorite search engine is will do the job. Great. Thanks a lot for spending your time with us on this evening and giving answers to not always easy topics that I came up with. It was a real pleasure. And I think that sums it up from our side here. Also, big thanks to all the MediaNet people in the background, as well as Florian, to giving everyone this opportunity. And last but not least, a big thanks from all the viewers for staying with us and being interested in Twisted Ramble and the progress of Duru.
Yes, thank you very
much. So much, and thank you for the invitation and having us.
Yes.
So nothing more to say over here than thanks a lot and bye-bye, and hopefully see you soon at one of the events or showcases. Thanks a lot. Until soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.